You missed anything, Odyssey.com. Rewind. We roll along on a beautiful Thursday. Got to talk a little baseball with you. And obviously, holiday week, people getting back to town various days. Scott Harris spoke the other day. Now, I didn't speak with local media. Not the beat writers, not the flagship station, but MLB Network. All right, separate conversation for a separate day. I don't understand that. But whatever. The point is, Scott Harris said a few things that were interesting, including one saying, finally copping to it, this is a developmental year, and we have to develop the core before we can start to spend and increase payroll in the coming winters. And it got me thinking about something. And I know the way I phrase this, it's going to dictate where the topic goes. But let me do it like this. Who's going to be here in 3 years when you believe you're competing for a World Series? Who is this core he speaks of? Like, as an example, I personally don't believe you can list Spencer Torkelson as a part of the core. I just don't think you can. The non-debatable parts of the core. Who is it? Now, if you want to say Skubal, there will be no argument. That's a Cy Young caliber, in his prime, left-handed arm. You get a couple of years of team control. Now, again...
Well, see, that was my question. Are we just talking everyday players?
No,
or
in sum total.
Okay.
Who's the core?
Gotcha.
Because as we sit here a third of the way through the season this year, a really frustrating year, I'm not sure I know who the hell he's talking about. Now, if you want to say Cole Keith's a part of the core because you paid him, well, that's fine. Performance-wise, leaves a lot to be desired. Oh, but he's heating up. Yes, he is.
And it's not like he broke the bank with him either.
No, it's $3.5 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend it on sunflower seeds. Who else? Who is this core? Now, Riley Green, we've seen some real nice flashes. He's been horrible now for basically 20-plus games. Mm-hmm. But who is this core that Scott Harris is talking about? Because I personally, I feel like this proves my point with Skubal and the trade Skubal movement is that there isn't much of a core. Like, here's an example. How much longer are we going to wait to find out if Justin Henry Malloy is a part of the core? The guy's got a 900 OPS at Toledo. He's 25. I mean, now or never, guys. Let's see Jace Young. Let's see Jackson Jobe. What are we waiting on if we've copped to the fans finally that we're not trying and it's a developmental year and you're going to sell at the deadline? I mean, you're going to sell Flaherty. Mm-hmm. Then who exactly am I pinning my hopes to? I think the only unquestioned member of this core right now would be Skubal, followed by maybe Green. Then it's a full stop.
See, when you brought this up, I only had Green because I didn't know if the pitchers would be involved. But
involve everyone. Who's the core he speaks of?
If right now the core, I would rather see them deal Skubal, but you have two. Pitcher, Skubal, everyday player is Riley Green. Anybody outside of that, I don't think they're going to be a part of this core that they're looking for, which made me depressed when I heard him say, well, once we get our core set, then that's when we'll start spinning. Man, you don't even have your core set. You have core. You have a piece, maybe two. But it's not something that you can say, okay, we got 5 players to build around.
Yeah. And if you think they do, I'd love to hear it. For instance, if you want to have debates about Wensil Perez, you want to talk Colt Keith, do you want to bank hope? Remember, hope is an emotion. It's not a strategy. You want to hope that Jace Young's a part of the core? You want to hope that Justin Henry Malloy? The point I'm making to you is I don't think this thing is nearly as well set up as he wants you to believe. And if that's the case, then what we're really talking about is a way longer term approach. That the Max Clarks are the core. The McGonagalls are going to be the core. Those guys are years away. Now, mind you, maybe you get to see Max Clark next year, but then it's the whole, well, he's a rookie. Well, he's got to get acclimated. When we're talking about guys showing you they are in the core of what the team is, it's a guy like, for instance, Gunnar Henderson struggled last year, and then he turned it on, and now Gunnar Henderson's a legitimate MVP guy. It either happens or it doesn't. I do not believe in these 3 or 4 year progression charts at the MLB level.
Well,
you show up and you are either Ronald Acuna or you're not. You're Bobby Witt Jr. or you're not.
It's Mike. I have to tip my hat because I fought you on this because you're looking more and more like you're going to be correct on this when it came to Torque. Because I was just like, you know what? You saw how he finished the season. Maybe he's just slumping a little bit. I'm starting to think that he's in that not category.
But
where
my answer to you has always been, though, we're not sending him down. He's going to play his way into the core or out of baseball. Because here's where I'm at. If Torque doesn't get it going, your first priority is to find the most expensive first baseman you can and show me you're a real owner. Like, look, Pete Alonso's turning down the Mets left, right, and center. Go ahead. You got $200 million? That's what it's going to take. I'm not telling you I'd run out and do it. I'm making a point to you. If you don't have Torque, that was a first overall draft pick, cornerstone player, college bat.
He was supposed to be a part of this core. That was that no-brainer. Like, yep, we got him, and it's not.
My problem with this is the following. I want to throw the number out, 248-539-9797. Most of what's up here right now isn't your core, and it's not going to be. Like, Matt Vierling will not be here. Zach McKinstry won't be here. Andy Ibanez won't be here. Gio Urshela won't be here. Carson Kelly won't be here. Jake Rogers won't be here. You want me to keep going? Javi Baez won't be here. So when he talks about developing the core, who are we developing? Who? You know, here's a question. Here's a great one. Is Kerry Carpenter a core player? See, I think you have guys that are debatable. I think you have guys that are fringy. But I agree with Rico in this regard. I am very careful about who I say, hey, 4 years from now, when we're having a parade down Woodward with the number 12 payroll in baseball, this guy will be here. I'm very careful about it. And it's why, look, doing topics like this and talking through it, I think it at least helps you understand why people like me feel the way we do with Skubal. Yeah, you got him in 25. And yes, you have him in 26. But you're wasting 24. You'd have to make a seismic shift to be good next year. So what are we really doing? Your max values right now. I don't have enough core pieces. Look, let's face it. If Justin Henry Malloy were that sweet, wouldn't he be here? What are you waiting for? If this was a developmental year and we blew past the mid-May deadline for service time and all that crap, wouldn't Jace Young be here? Why would you be playing a Frankenstein at third base? And beyond those two, who else is really around? Max Clark needs time. Lots of it. So I wonder if talking about this and using Scott Harris's words, does it change your view on the trade Skubal thing? And second of all, who in your mind is the core? Who's on the season tickets in 3 years? That's here right now.
Yeah, because you thought it was going to be Torque. You thought Parker Meadows could be a part of that. You thought a lot of people could be a part of the core who are just not cutting it here. And I got two. That's it. That I gun to my head.
Skubal and Green.
That's it, man. And Green is only there because he's the best of the rest.
And he is their best baseball player. He goes through really long stretches where he's really, really bad, but he goes through stretches he's really good. David, what do you make of it? Is Rico on target? Is he being negative?
No, I think he's on target. That would be it. And just like you, I want Skubal traded so we can get more core players. So right now, Skubal and Green. Because that's the core.
If you trade Skubal, you expedite the process. You get more core players in here. And here's the thing, because a lot of people, well, how do you know they're all going to pan out? They probably won't. But if you bring in 4 players and 2 of them become a part of your core to go along with Green.
But why do people act like all their prospects are going to work out? And then they only say, well, if I make this trade, how do I know the players I'm getting are any good? Because your players aren't all going to hit. If I have to hear another caller or host on this station list off all these Tiger prospects as if this franchise has any ability to develop players over the last 40 years, guys, some of these guys aren't going to work. If you think Torque is going to be the last of your failed prospects, you're crazy.
But it makes no sense because on one hand, you're saying, well, the guys you trade for may not work out, but then the guys that you have currently are all going to work out? What?
That's where I'm at. And again, if you're telling me, look, Cole Keith has showed me enough, the power's going to be on the way, he's developing, I'm fine with that. I have no issue adding a couple of guys. You want to tell me a Reese Olson's a part of the core? Good with it. The point we're making here is, even if we assume the pitching is all set, who are the core players in your everyday lineup that are in this system or that are up here right now? Because that's the issue I take with what Harris is saying, is your everyday lineup is still filled with 5 spots of blech, and it's not young, and it's not developing. It's garbage.
That's what when I think of core players, I think everyday lineup. I don't think pitching. I think the guys that, you know what, you got like these 4 or 5 fielders, and then you can put some rookies in there, or you could get a couple veteran bats, and you have a team.
So if I say to you Riley Green and let's say Cole Keith, who else? See, that's the problem.
I'd say Texas.
Good for you, Scott. That's the problem with what he said to me. So my question is, if you can't come to the table in June of 24 and tell me 4, 5, 6 guys that make up the core of this baseball team, then how could you tell me things are going to change in the near future? Therefore, how can you make fun of people like me who simply say you bite the bullet and you trade Skubal? And we then have an identifiable core with an everyday player who's in the MLB right now and as many as 3 high-level prospects.
You expedite the process, and now you can go into the winter, and you can go pick up free agents, and you can spend money because you don't want to spend money until you get those players. It's like a chicken and an egg. Let's just make this happen. Let's bring in the players. Let's get the process started now because I don't want to have these same conversations a year from now.
No, I just wondered. You know, when he talked about the core, let's have a conversation about it. And again, if there's a player, look, all I'm telling you is I can't say sight unseen with exactly 0 MLB at bats, some of these prospects are a part of the core. Guys, you can't do that. I mean, the odds, Max Clark could be Juan Soto. He could be Manny Maniac. You don't know. So the lack of proven things that are here make me feel like this is, and I've been saying this now for a couple months, this is starting to feel like more of an Iser plan. This is going to be a long-form build.
10 years?
No, you are so negative. 248-539.
Just shoot the puck.
90s.